Hello students, I am going to finish chapter 9. I apologize for the 2 videos, but my family and my puppy were making it a little crazy in my house. So let's continue on page 151 and the important things that you need to know. So we left off with the yes response, and as I said, if you start out your presentation where the audience has no other option than to answer yes to the questions that you have, you've already got them on board with what you want to try and accomplish, okay? At the bottom of page 151, it says, use emotional appeal at the end of the body of your speech. If you're going to fully develop an emotional appeal, such as a story or long illustration, do so toward the end of your speech. The final main point in the body of your speech in the most appropriate place to include a detailed story. The first 2 main points should stress evidence and expert opinion as you present your arguments, but save the final point for material that is especially appealing to the emotions of the audience. And as I have stressed to you through this entire semester, that the emotional appeal will always win your audience over. And then the last thing it says is match your nonverbal behavior with your appeal. Your body movement, gestures, voice, facial expression should reinforce the emotional appeals you are using. As we said before, if you are talking about something emotional and you're just dry, monotone, your audience is not going to buy into what you need them to do. Okay? And then on page 152, it talks about using pauses in your delivery. It says, one common mistake speakers commit when delivering emotional appeals is forgetting to give the audience time to digest the material. Use pauses after you've delivered a powerful line of dialogue. A 2 or 3 second pause will give your audience time to consider what you have just said. It places emphasis on your statement, and it gives you time to breathe. Use your pauses as you practice the speech. If you don't practice the speech with pauses, you will forget to use them when the real speech time arrives. Okay? So then on page 152 and 153, it gives you type of persuasive speeches, different outlines, okay? So the first one is speech of reasons approach. If your audience has no opinion, is neutral, or is only mildly in favor or mildly opposed to your proposition, you can use the speech of reasons approach. The simple method of persuasive speaking is best suited for these audiences. The next one is the problem-solution approach. If you want your audience to consider the adoption of a specific plan or solution to a problem, you can use the problem-solution approach. This works best with an audience that has no opinion, is neutral, or is only mildly in favor or mildly opposed to your proposals. And then it has the criteria satisfaction approach. If your audience is hostile to your proposition, the criteria satisfaction approach can be effective because it utilizes the yes response as you have them agree with your criteria for satisfactory solution. It also seeks to establish common ground with your hostile audience because you stipulate criteria that are agreeable to the speaker and the audience. And then the negative method approach. If your audience is hostile, the negative method can be especially effective because the structure forces the audience to realize that there is no other option than the one you propose. Your main point structure eliminates the other options as viable solutions. And then it goes down to Monroe's motivated sequence. The final persuasive speech pattern is Monroe's motivational sequence, developed by Professor Ellen Monroe. This popular and highly effective persuasive speech pattern for moving audiences to action. It is based on a developmental model of persuasion, each step building on the previous step. This pattern is especially useful if you are seeking immediate action or results from your audience. So this may be a very good idea to use for your final. Okay? Gain attention, establish a need, satisfy the need, visualize the need satisfied, and ask for action. All right? And that concludes chapter 9. And the sections that you really want to pay attention to for testing purposes in chapter 9 are summarize the basics of persuasion in lesson 9.1. Definitely in lesson 9.2 is Aristotle's 3 persuasion proofs, which is going to be huge for that section of the test. 9.3, which is types of persuasive speeches, and we know there were quite a few. And those are the main things that you really want to pay attention to for the final, or rather your Chapter 9 test. This is a huge chapter to digest, so I would suggest that you go over this video quite a few times. Alright, we will do Chapter 10 next.